Wow. You know what? I've been waiting for this moment for a while, man. We haven't done a Monkey Talks, hosted our own AMA in how long? Shy, when was the last Monkey Talks?
2 months.
2 months? Wow, we've done a crazy amount of AMAs, that's for sure. I think we've done maybe 15 something AMAs in the last couple of months, but this is very emotional, exciting because we used to do Monkey Talks once a week, even once every 2 weeks, once a week, and so super excited to finally come back, and even more excited that in a few weeks we are moving to our new office. In that new office, we have a new studio, so we'll have a nice shop to have these shows in from that point. And yeah, super excited to be here. So first of all, here this is a very special Monkey Talks, and we're here today. We have breeding around the corner. We have a lot of information that we kind of put out about breeding and about kind of how to understand NFTs, the monkey players, and how to form the teams, and what to look for. So there's a whole lot of information. Some of it we kind of went through months ago. So with breeding coming up, with various game launches coming up, leading up to the game launch, it's a really good time to kind of weave things together. So in light of that, we have a couple very special guests today. We have, first of all, our product lead, Uri Shavit, in the house back again. Uri was here in one of our team spotlights, and I think another AMA too, to talk about a feature of game actions. I think it's coming to my mind.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Too while, too
Voice
long.
is a little raspy. I'll work on the voice a little bit. And not only are we joined by Uri Shavit, so first of all, Uri penned his first article for us last week about his take on forming teams and different strategies and how to potentially leverage breeding for that. And we're also joined by a very, very, very special guest, Miss Bria Fox from Polemos.
Hello,
How are you,
everybody.
Bria?
Hi, Oren. Hi, Uri. How are you doing?
Hi, Bria.
Good, good. Super awesome that you could join us and kind of be here on behalf of Polemos and Polemos is a very active partner within our kind of gaming guild hemisphere, and Polemos does a lot more than just act as a gaming guild. But Polemos is definitely going to be a super competitive force within MonkeyLeague, and they've done a tremendous amount of work in forming teams and strategies that they've put into place and how they're going to leverage breeding. So I also thought it would be great to kind of have a collective kind of conversation and understand, because in the end, the beauty about Web3 and the beauty about kind of launching this game with the community and with everyone is that we might have our recommendations, but together as a community, we're actually forging the different strategies going forward. So there's nothing kind of like a 10, I almost said 10 crack commandments just because I'm a Biggie fan, but it's not like a 10 commandments to forming your teams, nothing set in stone. I've talked enough. Uri, maybe give us give us 60 seconds about yourself and here at MonkeyLeague, just in case people weren't familiar from last time. And then Bria, obviously, love to hear from you as well.
Yeah, sure. First of all, do you hear me well? Do you hear me
We
good
hear you
enough?
well.
Great. So in 60 seconds, first of all, it's been a while. I'm excited to be here. I've been missing it, Oren. You have to call me more often. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Uri. I'm here pretty much from the beginning. The few early persons who established MonkeyLeague. I'm the product and game lead, which means I'm responsible for the game design, for the game products, also a little bit of meta features, now starting to dealing with connecting the game to the crypto and Web3. But mainly, till now, I've been dealing with the game and actions, monkeys, monkey space, everything that we talked about. And that's it. I'm super, super hyped. Love the community, love seeing all your questions and comments and the way that all the community is engaged. And I'm happy to be here to answer your questions, hopefully.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Bria, you're on stage. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little elevator on Polemos, just in case people aren't familiar. And then I'd love to just dive in. That'd be great.
Absolutely. So my name is Bria Fox. I am the head of marketing at Polemos, and we are a GameFi platform that will be releasing soon. But we are focusing on education, esports, metaverse adoption. We're really excited to be a part of AMAs, especially like this one, where we get to talk to our amazing partners and really just dive into the strategy side, because that's what we're all about. I hope I don't let you guys down.
Oh, I'm sure not. So to be honest, like when we talk with our partners and our gaming partners and things like that, like everyone is deploying kind of their own way to set things up, and also based on our own recommendations. And I was really blown away by all of the Polemos' work in forming their teams and things like that. So I definitely, it's awesome to have you guys here and offer your take into things. And then also, so essentially what I'd like to, as most people know here, there's no real script to these monkey talks and AMAs and things like that. But what I would love to cover is, Uri, you wrote that article last week, right, about forming your teams and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people will get a lot of benefit hearing it from you itself if we can take us through, like, even before that, how did you scout for Monkey, right? Like, I know we're many months in and things like that, but it's still, I think it would be super beneficial with the new Monkey Space, new Monkey profile page. Shy, if maybe we can get it ready, we can bring it up soon. But like, if you can take everyone through like really what to look for and maybe deep dive into those things, and then if the community wants to ask questions in the meantime, let's get all your questions out there and really
Sure thing.
get it out. So I want to cover that. I want to cover kind of your take and recommendations on how to form teams, how to best leverage breeding, because that's coming up. And also, I would love to bring in one of our kind of community members to actually come up with us and tell us their take, right? Obviously, it should be somebody. So I'm throwing it out there now, everybody who's listening. And, if you have a team of monkeys or, you have more than that, we'd love to hear from you on how you kind of went about scouting your monkeys and forming that team. And so let's kick it off. And without further ado, maybe we can start with like what to look for in a monkey, or if you can just start us off, that would give us like a kind of a base and a foundation, I think.
Sure.
And that would be great.
So there's a lot to talk about, so make sure I'm focused and you keep me on track because I can talk for hours. But let's start with the basics, right? As you said, I mean, there isn't really a right or wrong answer on how do you want to form your team, but of course, most of us want to play, want to win, right? So you're basically talking on how to build your strongest team. So let's go back to the basics. First of all, I remind you that we shifted a little bit. Now we're talking about 6 versus 6. So we have a goalkeeper, 2 midfielders, 2 defenders, and a striker. That's the positions that you have to put monkeys in when you start the game. Of course, you can also you can rent from us monkeys, but that's the positions you have to place. Now, I remind you guys that each monkey is born with 4 main stats and 12 perks. Now, these stats are the main drivers for the position and for the game actions. So maybe, Shah, you can show the page, but it's important to remember that each one, just like in Street, you can take any monkey and play with it in any position you want, right? You can decide to play with this monkey at this position today and with this monkey at that position tomorrow. But so for each position, you have the score. Now, the score is derivative by, you can also see in the monkey page the actual calculation that we do. So, for a striker, his main stat is accuracy. For a midfielder, his main stat is passing. But midfielders and strikers on some fields and some actions have overlapping, right? So passing also affects a midfielder. And before we jump to the score, I just want to remind you that each monkey is born with a certain stat between 10 to 25. And then it has its max potential, right? In this specific monkey, we can see that his max accuracy is 80 and his max passing is 85. So that's his potential. It's important for what I'll reach in a second. So once we understand that we have the 4 main stats, the 4 main stats with their current and max, and we understand that each position has its own score because it's a combination of these 4 stats. Shah, you can go down and maybe even show the goalkeeper score. So we have the current score and the max score. That is important to understand when you are about to scout a monkey, right? Because you might want to choose the specific monkey that will be the strongest at this point. Oren, I see that you want to ask something.
I do. You know me well, man.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask if we can give people a sense, because I'm curious as well, how many games, how much will it take in order to improve those stat levels and level up?
So first of all, we're still working on it, right? The economy is still under work. I can't tell you that it will take 4 matches to upgrade, because also the upgrades will get harder as long as you progress towards the max potential of the monkey. But basically what you do is you play with your monkeys. Now, also something that we just finished designing is that you don't accumulate XP per monkey. I mean, if you play with more monkeys, you do gain more. You gain more XP, but the XP is not gained per monkey. It's gained by the player, you can call it by the coach, right? By your team, and then you can decide how do you want to spread that experience point on upgrading the NFT.
So why the shift from per to player?
Because first of all, now we look at it more as you are the team owner, the coach, it's your team. You can play with this monkey or that monkey. We want to give you the ability, to accumulate the XP and then spread it the way you see fit. Now, it does matter because when you play with more monkeys, first of all, you do get more free energy. You do gain more XP. And second of all, you get to play with monkeys that you know, and you're not raffled with some monkey that you're not aware of. And also you get to enjoy your NFTs, right? But you can play with any NFTs that you like. Then you gain XP as a team. Again, when you play with more of your NFTs, with more of your monkeys, you gain more XP. So it does matter if you play with more monkeys or not. And then you can decide on how do you want to spread your knowledge and wisdom to train the monkeys, if you can talk theoretically wise. You want me to keep on going because I have a lot more?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I like we'll talk. I guess we'll go to like team formation.
Yeah, I want to finish with the score because I didn't finish with it. That's very important. So once you see the score, first of all, you have the 4 stats. Okay. First of all, they give you a very good idea of the strength of the monkey because you can see his current state, but you can see your final goal, which is the max stats, because eventually you want to train your monkeys, you want to improve them, you can later sell them or to enjoy their strength in the game. But the higher the max potential is of each stat, it means that monkey will be stronger in that stat, and by hence his scores will be higher. So for each one of the scores, you have the current score. You can see it bold over here, which is 17.1. And you have the max score. Now, as I said, a monkey can be good at several positions. He can be good at a striker and also to be good as a midfielder. But here we show you which is the strongest position. You can see it bolded. Like here, the strongest position currently is a goalkeeper, which means that if you place this monkey as a goalkeeper in the game, his action, his abilities will be most boosted or the most strongest, because any action takes into consideration stats and perks, right? So if you put a monkey that has high accuracy and kicks takes mainly accuracy, then his kicks will be stronger than if you put a monkey that has a strong defense. But it doesn't mean that you can't play on each roles. And at the top, Shai, if you can scroll up, you can see that we highlighted it, that when you max all the stats, when you bring the monkey to his max stats, eventually he'll be best as a goalkeeper. And you can also see the numbers, so you can actually compare between monkeys and say, okay, when I'll max this monkey, he'll be with 90, and when I max this monkey, he will be with 80. So you can actually empirically compare between monkeys with the same positions. It's not only the current and max, but you can actually compare empirically.
That's super important, actually, because I think the biggest thing that would help people is like the best way to compare monkeys, right? And like what kind of approach to take to that. So as many kind of comparison notes and like how to look at things. And I think it would be interesting also to hear your take on, so we have these current best position scores, we have the max potential position scores. What should people be prioritizing when they're trying to play now? And
again, so it's not really it's not really a black or white. But if you want to win now and you want to have the strongest team now, you should probably seek for the monkeys with the highest scores right now, because they'll be the strongest on field. But once we start training the monkeys and improving them, you might want to have the monkey with the higher potential for you to improve and then sell, or again enjoy it. So it all depends. If you want to search for the strongest team at this point, you should look for the strongest scores, the strongest stats, and the strongest perks. But you should take into consideration the potential of that monkey. And again, just to give an example, you might have a monkey that is currently strongest as a goalkeeper, but his score as a midfielder can be higher than the score of a monkey which the midfielder is the strongest. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's all comparable and empirical.
Mm-hmm. Bria, do you have any questions for Uri?
Oh, I have so many questions, but I have questions by each type of monkey, so no. Please continue.
So Oren, just to sum her up, if I was now to select a team, first of all, I would want to make sure that I have a monkey that is best at each position, because when I come to play and I need to decide I want Lulumi or I want Patron to play in this position, I want to place them in their best position currently, because then it will mean that in the game they will be strongest. If I put Patron in a defender, but he's better at being a midfielder, it just means that on defense he's going to be weaker than other monkey that I would put in defense. So if it was me, I would try to form a team of at least 6 players, with one painted as a goalkeeper, 2 painted as defenders, and then 2 midfielders and a striker. And then I would try to get, first of all, the ones with the highest current score, because I want them to be the best at the game. But I might also have a few monkeys that I'm saying, okay, these will be my superstars in X time. And these are the assets that I will want to improve and then either sell or enjoy them in the game.
Right, and that's essentially what you talked about in the article as well. Like we have certain kind of recommendations. You have certain options, right? Like, so if you have X amount of monkeys, you have XYZ different options that you can do. And so maybe now, first of all, does anybody have any questions about how to identify certain monkey players and how to compare what's the best strategy in scouting players before we move on to the next thing? Because now I want to get into a little bit on how to form the team. So if the community's got some questions on this, feel free to do it.
I actually have
Yeah, go
one
ahead.
before we jump into chat, if
Sure.
it's okay.
Sure.
So we actually set up our teams based on the 4 versus 4 setup. And so we're kind of now learning that it's most likely going to be 6v6. How would you bring in the additional 2 monkeys? Would it depend on just the round that you're playing? Could it be 2 scorers or a mix of midfielders and defenders? How would you kind of scale up from what a lot of people have been planning?
So first of all, currently we are planning on one setup, which is one goalkeeper, 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, and a striker. So I would recommend trying to accomplish a team of those positions. But again, you can find a player that is flagged as a midfielder, but he can also still be strong as a striker. But this is the current setup we're aiming for. We might open it in the future, but we're still testing it.
Yeah. And I guess in the 4-player scenario, like, it was striker, midfielder, defender, and goalie, and we've added a midfielder and a defender to that. So like I would probably like just focus on those areas and whether current best or max potential. I think that and then if you want to have substitute players, right? So it's different things that you can put into place. People are asking about formation, so this is a really cool thing that we won't have in the MVP, correct, Uri? It won't be in the MVP, but it's definitely
for sure. We're thinking about it. We want to have formations that you can select to play with. More in defense or more in attack. You can go up to the game with two strikers. It won't be in the MVP, but for sure we're thinking about formations and different tactics.
Awesome.
No, not in the beginning, J-Mac. Not in the MVP.
J-Mac, always asking the tough questions. J-Mac Dizzle. Alexios, we spoke that before. I actually asked Uri about that, about realistic time frame to max stats. I think as we finalize the overall economy, because there's 100 different things that are interconnected that need to work together.
I'll just say that it will take time. I mean, it depends on your gameplay. If you play 40 games per day and you decide, to put all your XP on one monkey, it will take you less time, but it's not going to be a short. We're planning on the long term. It's going to take a little bit of time to max out your monkey. It's not going to be like immediate.
Cool. All right. Let me now take this, and guys, everyone watching, feel free to continue to shoot out your questions. But I do want to jump to Bria, and understand, contractual stuff. You don't have to say the number of monkeys or things like that. But like, what was like your guys' general approach to forming the teams? Right. Like, I have X amount of monkeys. Like, how did you guys go about segmenting them? That would be kind of cool to hear.
Yeah, so we really took in the fact that we needed to look at the main skills and then the perks for where to place them. So we have a giant spreadsheet where we have an amazing team member that was able to go through and pull out every single skill, every single perk, look at the actual number itself and the max number. And so there was probably way more math done on our end than most people do, but I will
I love it.
suggest it to anybody that wants to, because we were looking at the sum of each skill rank for each category, because it seems like the high skill ranks are a good indicator that they're going to do well. And it definitely seems like accuracy and control might make a difference for defenders and goalies. So we took that into account too, because there's no reason to shoot if you don't have high accuracy, at least in my opinion. So yeah, we looked at the 12 different perks, and we looked at the 4 categories because there are 3 perks per position. And we really placed our top monkeys in the right position based on balancing our entire team. And so it's really exciting to know that, but we are still a little hung up on how I don't know if we're there yet, but how the appearance based mystery
So I was just going to
attributes
say
kind
that.
of play in.
We need to take that into consideration. So maybe Uri, you can take that. I can take that. Whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, we call it we call it the special ability. The special ability is like one of our most anticipated features that we're working hard. So basically, the idea is that we're going to have special abilities per position. I'm not going to disclose on how you're going to get it, on how you're going to equip it, because we're still working on it. But you're going to have a special ability per position. And once you're about to activate that special ability, then the alpha score will give you a boost, or so
Like a
the
perk.
higher the alpha score, the stronger the special abilities that you activate will be. So that's also a main issue to consider when you're selecting a monkey. When you see a higher alpha score, it means that when this monkey will activate a special ability, again, we don't have the formulas to disclose yet, but once you activate a special ability, then the higher the alpha score, the stronger the special ability is. I hope it answers.
That's awesome.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
that answers
clear.
it perfectly.
Super clear. And alpha scores, as we know, amongst the population, is anywhere between 180 and 800.
Yeah.
Super important. And maybe I know from the article.
175, actually. That's what you have listed.
75.
Hold on.
You got it. You got it.
You're right. You're totally right.
Corrected in the moment.
I had
175. Correct.
to.
You know what? It's actually
175 could panic.
174. I'm just joking. Yeah, 175. That is very, very true. And there's also we wrote about the position score. So the max skill potentials, the range of that within the population is between 84 and 117. So these are, keep that in consideration when you're scouting for players. And the max position scores, like the max is 125. That's the most.
The score. Yeah, the score, not the stats. It's important to differentiate.
Position scores.
The stats are maxed at 100, but the score can go up to 100.
So people have been trying to find this 180 monkey for months. And now they need to look for a 175 monkey. So they've been looking in the wrong J-Mac, we got to get on that. Whoever finds the 175 monkey will have some kind of giveaway. My word. Awesome. So that was very clear. So what I'm gathering, and I'm playing, the asshole here because we knew that before, but like, when you're scouting players, and obviously you're going to be a game player within Monkey League, and I just want to sum up. It's these core skills are obviously super super important, right? Current best position, looking for monkeys that are performing well now, or looking at the max potential and planning for the long term, and then just grinding your team to improve their stats. That's number one. Number two is also check out those position scores, right? So not just the max potential of those core game skills, but also the position scores within each of those positions of that monkey. And perks, right? So this is the core thing. And then also alpha will have an impact on special abilities. Special abilities are a per position thing. So what essentially having a higher and higher alpha will give you a stronger and stronger boost on performing those special abilities. Was I correct in that summary?
Yeah, you were correct, sir.
Okay, awesome. And questions for the community, keep firing them out. And okay, so Uri, how can we best leverage breeding, right? Because and also like when I look at it as well, right? It's you can't put things into one bucket, right? Obviously, like there's some people that have more resources than others and things like that. So it's obviously super important. There's not one size that fits all. But at least, and correct me if I'm wrong, the way that we recommend to approach it, like you can, if you have 6 Gen 0 monkeys and you want to put them on the same team, do it. You're good. If you have the bandwidth, you can actually split up those monkeys, create multiple teams, breed the strongest monkeys together to fill out those teams. And if you have the bandwidth, I say that because if you don't have the bandwidth to play with more than one team, then don't play with more than one team, right? Your goal here is to have fun in the end and achieve and earn on the way. So if you can handle it, then split it up. Talk to us a little bit about that, like how to best leverage that.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, as you mentioned, there are several benefits of having more than one monkey or even 0 monkey on your teams, right? You have the benefits of extra energy, the benefits of earning extra XP, and it's limited. So if you have above, I don't know, 20 monkeys, just giving an example, you won't get extra energy. So you do have to split your monkeys into teams. Once the economy is finalized, of course, we will disclose it, but you want to have a team of monkeys to gain more free energy and to gain more XP gaining. So you should split them into teams, into wallets. Also, I missed my line of thought. So you want to split those monkeys. You have the benefits of splitting them. You want to own several teams because as you read or heard, we are talking about the concept of SBTs, which are soulbound tokens. So once you're a team owner, you'll get an SBT of a team owner, and then that SBT will give you certain perks or certain
benefits within the ecosystem.
Yeah, benefits inside the ecosystem. So you do want to be you do want to be a team owner, and then you want to be a multiple team owner, and then you want to be a club owner, etc., 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 because you're going to have all this chase and all this acknowledgement of SBTs.
Even
I hope I'm not. Yeah.
No, it makes sense. But even putting like the SBTs aside, because like soulbound tokens, SBTs, it's definitely going to be super prevalent within gaming and moving forward. And we're definitely very excited to kind of implement this whole system of it. Obviously, once it's fully fleshed out, we'll let everyone know and discuss it in full. But it's definitely something we're already implementing into the overall kind of ecosystem and economy as we build that out.
Yeah, and
but I think like when I put myself in the shoes of a player, like and just like in the article, like I want to increase my position in the game. I want to increase my presence within the game. So if I have the bandwidth, right, I want to have
Yeah.
multiple teams because I have more chances to earn.
You can
I have,
compete in the tournament. You can compete with
yeah, if
several
I'm going to
teams. You can,
tournaments, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. I can enter multiple teams, and
yeah.
in my mind, also that increases the chances of things. So, but that's only if you have the bandwidth, right? Like, if you want to stick with one team, stick with one team. So we have a couple questions I just want to touch on. When it comes to breeding, what factors can we consider in order for us to determine what pairs are good to
Mhm,
breed?
mhm.
And then this also touches a little bit on, like, is it recommended to breed two monkeys of the same position? So breeding two monkeys of the same position gives you a super high chance that the new monkey will be that same position. So if and correct me if I'm wrong also, or like, so if you're in Bria's question before, like, I have my four monkeys, right? Midfielder, defender, things like that. If you breed two midfielders together, or likewise, you'll get that third midfielder. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so this is an important part, so I'll try to be clear as possible. First of all, I just want to remind you that during breeding, you have 31.5% of getting a perk from one of the parents, 31.5 from the second parent, and which brings you to 63 in total, and 37% of 37% of getting a mutation. Now, something that is important to understand: the position is derivated from the stats. So if you breed a striker and a striker, it doesn't mean that you'll necessarily get a striker because both of them are painted as strikers, but because both of them have high accuracy, and accuracy is the main driver of a striker,
Understood.
as you can see in the monkey space. Then it means that you have a very high percentage, 63% to get a high accuracy stat, because
That
you're
makes sense.
getting from one parent and the other parent. So for the question, it's important to understand that it's not by breeding two strikers you will necessarily get a striker. But because a striker is built mainly from accuracy and then passing, etc., if you bring two monkeys that are strikers, it means that they have both high accuracy and high passing, which means you have 63% of getting high accuracy and passing. So each one of the stats is according to the algorithm, as I said. Also the perks, right? So each one of the stats is raffled, each one of the perks is raffled, and that's it mainly. And then and also the visuals are raffled. You want me to get into the seasonal and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was actually just gonna to mention that too. That it's super sexy that, with these seasonal items, essentially that's falls under the mutation, right? So, talk to us a little bit about, like, we have AC Milan, right? The first season, flagship season. What are the chances of getting a Milan trade?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I see that someone asked. No, the breeding is an algorithm. We don't do it manually. Everything is algorithm. It should be quick.
Big
Somebody
V12
asked.
in the
Yeah, he
house.
asked if it's an algorithm. We don't do it
Yeah,
manually.
if it was manually, it would have launched already. Put it that way. But there's a lot of technology and algorithms involved there. Part of that waiting period, at least for now, is because it's the initial MVP and for experience. Like, it shouldn't be instantaneous.
Sure. So just a little bit about the breeding. So we are about to launch our breeding, which we're waiting for it, and we're all very excited about it. So we're going to have, as Liron also talked about previously, we're going to have seasons. And during those seasons, we're going to have seasonal assets, right? So let's say in the AC Milan season, we're going to have Milan seasonal items. So once you breed, right, you have 31.5% from each parent, but you also have the 37% for mutation. Now during season, okay, so let's say you bring two parents with AC Milan shirts. you have a very high chance to get an AC Milan shirt because you have 63% to get an AC Milan shirt. But even if you don't bring parents with AC Milan shirt, but it's the AC Milan season, then we have the seasonal items that you can get via the mutation, right?
Yeah, and
So-
there's a few different traits that are, or a couple different traits that are AC Milan branded. So essentially, you have around a 60% chance to get one or two traits or even both, right? So we made that pretty specific in order to, give across, especially for the first breed as well. So
Yeah.
You
So just to
definitely
summer it up,
yeah, sorry, go
just to
ahead.
summer it up, during the season, you can get by the mutation the seasonal items if you didn't bring them via one of your parents. So that's the nice thing about seasons, that you can get rare items if it's the season of the items via the.
Cool. Big V, Big V12. So we're gonna put out like an article on all the like the breeding traits that the Milan season will have. It'll come. There will be outfits. There will also be hairstyles like a beanie and a hat. The beanies and the hats will be the more common of the Milan traits. So there's definitely a few that will stand out. Cool.
I'm definitely going after the beanies then.
The beanies are sick. The beanie and the hat, man. The hat is awesome. So, Bria, what's your guys' take on breeding? I know you guys plan on participating at some point in the future, but like, what's your take on breeding and how to kind of weld that in there? I just made up a word, weld.
We're super excited because breeding does start on October 26th. So we're trying to plan ahead and we don't want to give like too much away, but we really are paying attention to all of the stats that go into that. And we have all of the Gen Zero alpha and monkeys, and so we want to make sure that we are breeding correctly because you kind of only have one shot at it. Like you guys said, you can't breed down a certain family and things like that, and we're pretty happy with what our teams look like. I won't say how many because I want to have a little bit of competitive advantage, but we're really just paying attention to every single item on that monkey to make sure that if we breed it correctly, we are potentially going to kick some butts on the fields. But one of the things that I did want to ask you guys is, how do you find a balance between perks versus skills when looking at your monkey or looking to breed two monkeys together? Because we can sit here all day and be like, okay, I know my skill rank is in between 30 and 40. I know that my alpha score is between it used to be 175 and 800, and so we have all of that taken into account. But for some of our other teams, we are kind of trying to decide where that nice balance is for each of the monkeys. So, question to you.
Uri.
Where do we find the balance? I mean, it's a very hard question because the game is complicated and the economy and the game design is all tangled by everything. But if I understood your question correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, so we look at it as the stats are the main drivers and the perks are I won't say boosters, but they are important. But like the stats, as you can see in the formulas in the monkey page, they are the main drivers. So when I try to look on the the balance of, do I look for a perk or for a stat or for an alpha score, again, it's not a black or white, but I would say that the stats are also the main drivers for the actions and for the score. the perks are important because they boost your actions on field. So it's a balance, actually. I would say it's a balance. I would try to find. Eventually, the score is, it's a cumulative. It's not cumulative. Sorry, it's like Oren, how do you say the word? It's a very. I'm missing the word. So the number. Yeah, I'm fine. So the number, eventually the score takes into consideration the perks and the stats. So I would just look for the higher score. But if you have to generally say, the stats are the main driver, the perks are on top of that, and then the alpha score will boost your special abilities. So it's a combination, but I think it's in that order. But again, it's not black or white. It depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I hope I answered your.
Yeah. So we're definitely just, as we're leveling our monkeys up, as we're considering breeding, we really are aiming for max potential every time.
Yep.
I mean, the max of what we can do, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, whenever we're looking at that, I think that we definitely are taking into account the stats, and we are definitely taking into account the perks. But at the same time, those perks, they kind of affect the in-game gameplay. So, it seems to me kind of like midfielders, they're good in multiple positions. They might intercept the ball. They probably have a bit more balanced stats with higher passing. And we want every stat to be balanced. And so some are combos, and some might be better in the defender position or the goalkeeper, which I kind of see those as kind of the same but different, because for defenders it seems like all that really matters is defense and control, and they need a high pass rate to ensure proper defense. If I am wrong here, please let me know, because I will change my teams immediately.
No, you're right. We have to remember that as I said, some parts are overlapping, right? So defenders sometimes do some actions of midfielders because they want to move the ball upward. But as you say, they're mainly good at defense. But goalkeeper and defenders have some overlapping. Defenders and midfielders have some overlapping, and midfielders and strikers have some overlapping. But as you said, that's why you can see also in the formula in the monkey space that a defender mainly takes his defense and control, but he also takes a little bit of his passing because we want him to be able to pass the ball upward. But you're right, there are the main stat drivers per position, and then the perks, as you said, I would search for perks that are balanced because I want them to be able to do all actions.
It's amazing.
Cool. It seems like a lot of people are having issues with the stream.
Yeah, technical.
I don't know if you see that.
Hopefully it froze on a really nice face for all of us, and we're all smiling and happy. It's definitely not anything embarrassing.
And I hope people can hear. I want to talk about a couple questions. So I just want to address something, especially from Monkey Analytics and So Pioneers Gear Up, yes. Pioneers Gear Up is over, and during Pioneers Gear Up, we essentially said, don't split up your monkeys if you don't intend to play with multiple teams, because we didn't want people just to try to stock up on game items for the sake of stocking up on game items, because you can't transfer them from player ID to player ID, and only up to a certain number of monkeys. Like during Pioneers Gear Up, it didn't matter how many monkeys you had, just to keep them in there, and you get the same amount. Once game time launches, and we said this also back then, once game time launches, the amount of game essentials that you get will be per monkey, up to 6, and then after 6 you'll get the same amount. So that was for Pioneers Gear Up, and essentially to do that. And again, when it comes to forming your teams, I think it's super important. I just want to reiterate this, that everything is to be within your capabilities, right? If you want to have a stronger position within MonkeyLeague and you have the bandwidth to play with multiple teams, then play with multiple teams. If you have one monkey, then you obviously can't play with multiple teams, but it really all depends on your bandwidth. And essentially, what we're trying to do here is present the options, right? So you can put all your Gen Zeros onto one team. You can breed the strongest ones, create multiple teams. You can put two on each team and then breed them out. You can put four of the Gen Zeros on each team and breed them out. So there's a lot of different options. And that's what I was saying in the beginning, that's the beautiful thing, that we are building this game from scratch altogether. So strategies will come from the MonkeyLeague team. Strategies will come from partners like Polemos, and strategies will definitely come from community members as we get going as well. Cool. Any other questions?
Since I know we're having a little bit of a lag, I do have another, because when looking at all of these skills, how exactly does the control skill, for example, affect each position outside of a goalkeeper? Are we going to see kind of that sort of thing taken into account?
Yeah, first of all, yeah. Every time that we make a new action in the game, you have the active potential and the counter potential. So we might use different stats depending on the action. And eventually, our goal is to share the formulas of each action. We want to share the community to get feedback. So once the economy is done and we're testing all the time and improving, you will be able to see either via the Monkey Space or via Wikipedia. We're going to have our own encyclopedia one day inside the game, one day, and then you'll be able to see each action, what it takes into consideration. And yeah, for sure, we're going to use control not only for the goalkeeper. We're going to the same way we use defense not only for defender. So even if the striker is defending himself against the tackle, just for an example. So we are using each one of the stats in different places with the mindset that each position and the action, the most used actions by each position should use the main driver. So the main actions, or the most common actions that the striker will do, will take accuracy, but he will also take passing. The most actions that the midfielder will do will take passing, but he will also use defense and control, etc., etc. And as I said, there is a little bit of overlapping between each one of the positions, because we do want to keep it a little bit of street, so you can play with each one of them. It is distinguished between. It does make a difference if you play with striker as a midfielder, but as I said, some of the actions are overlapping. I hope that the streaming is better now.
No, the streaming is so bad, and I feel so bad. Everyone can barely understand what we're saying. But hopefully, when it converts after into YouTube,
It'll be perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
not,
I have some really good positivity there.
Bria, did I answer your question? I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. So, to take up time while we are potentially lagging out, how does a high defense awareness impact gameplay? I know that you said everything overlaps, of course, but like something like that, is that, are they getting ready?
So we are using defense awareness mainly for, actions that from real life. So let's say you are about to, just for example, like interception. So we might use defensive awareness in interception, because if you are aware of the situation, then you're about to read the pass and you are aware that the pass is going to be made, and then your counter might be higher because you have a defensive awareness. Or once we start having combos and stuff like that, your defensive awareness will help you to be more prepared, which in the game is equal to a higher counter potential for those actions. So basically, defensive awareness is for all actions that require you to either stop the ball or to intercept the ball or to stop the movement with the ball. So each thing that you can, Oren, help me out with the word. Each move
I'm
that
talking
you
to
can.
people in the chat here,
Oh,
man.
that's fine.
Trying to deal with the lag here.
So yeah, Bria, that's the way we're going to use defensive awareness for your betting defense. And again,
I like that.
a striker might use the defensive awareness if he is trying to intercept a ball. But because he is a striker, he would probably have a lower defensive awareness. Probably. He might have a high defensive awareness, but he might probably have a lower defensive awareness, which will make him a little bit weaker in intercepting, because it's not his profession, to see the passing all the time and to read the passing. I hope I answered your question.
You definitely did. And that's kind of why I think we've grouped together the monkeys that we have for the positions on our teams, because we want to make sure that each of the positions that we fill, it's just spot on. We're adding up the values. We're working towards that like nice range of combos. And I really like your explanation there, because it's so important for us to take into account, the stats and how those work, and then the perks after that. So
Yeah.
it just comes down to, how do the perks play out, and you want to really stick with which perks work for each of the positions of the monkeys.
Yeah, that's correct. And again, guys, we have to remind ourselves that we're building the game. We want to release it to the community to get feedback. Alpha, the closed alpha and the closed beta. Then we might get feedback, so we might decide that we want to change things. But this is the current design. We have our leading stats per position. We have the leading perks per position. The perks are used as we described before. That's it. I mean, Oren, anything you want to add about it, or you're dealing with the...
No. Everything seems super clear. I think Bria is asking a lot of great questions too that the community will benefit from after, once it goes. That's how it goes into the YouTube. It goes like this. It goes.
Yeah, it goes into the YouTube. Just off.
It goes on the line. One of my favorite movies is The Intern. When they're like, you know what I'm talking about? I got an idea.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's do an app where you take pictures and you put them on the line. So yeah, it all makes sense.
$1 million.
And I think there was a lot that we covered here. There's a lot of information. We are having a shitty stream towards the end. Everyone will recap from that. And also, we will be having another AMA specifically on breeding, so definitely stay tuned for that before the launch. Just finalizing the exact date and all that. So we will have another AMA before the launch of breeding.
I can't wait. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah,
it is. It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, we've been super waiting for breeding. The team has been working crazy hard to get it done. And I think we'll wrap it up for today. I know there was some frustration there with the stream. My bad. The video hopefully will be clear after. If not, it's Bria's fault, because she said it will be clear 100%.
Oh, I did. It's all on me. I cursed it. It's Halloween soon, so yeah, it's all on me. I'll take that.
Wow, I missed it. I missed Halloween. Okay, let me just end it like this. And Shai will make the video into chapters and things like that, so it'll be nice and organized and things like that. Breeding coming up. We have the first breeding capsule sale for Monkey Pioneers coming up on the 20th. Breeding reserves for Monkey Pioneers only on the 26th. And we have Solana Breakpoint, which is going to be a huge event for MonkeyLeague. We got some surprises around there as well. Mini closed alpha towards the end of November, closed beta in December, soft launch in several countries, plus a whitelist of people not in those countries coming in January. So we're really kind of gearing up here. We also have Score, a huge announcement on Score, our studio token, coming out in the next couple of weeks. I was super happy to be here. It's been a while, a couple months. First of all, Uri, thank you very much for taking the time. Bria, it was a pleasure having you here. We'll do it again.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
For sure. With love, with Monkey Love.
It's crazy.
We'll monkey around.
What did I forget, Jan? What did I forget, man? No. First of all, Shai was fired earlier. You guys missed
That's
it.
why he's not here. Yeah.
That's why I need to close the stream. Just kidding. All right. Have a good night, day. Much monkey love. Stay tuned. Again, we'll have another AMA specifically on breeding with Liron, head of product. Much love. Thanks, guys, for taking the time to listen, even though it was a bad stream.